Is the alliance active, the Gupkar alliance active, and
we're individually busy.
okay.
Collectively no.
But will you be मतलब लोकसभा के साथ में लड़ने का plan है या
इस तरह की कोई तो बात है नहीं.
नहीं? Has your relationship with Mehbooba ji changed after abrogation?
I think it has, in the sense that circumstances forced us to work together.
You have the same cause to fight for now.
Well, that cause will continue regardless of whether we fight elections together or not.
Okay.
Electorally, what happens, time will tell. I always feel that personal hatred should not enter into politics. But that's not what happens.
But how do you not hate a person?
I wish it wasn't the case.
I'm sure you also hate people.
I wish we could be more polite with people that we disagree with. Which is why I've always said I have political opponents, I don't have enemies. I don't consider my opponents to be my enemies. I oppose them politically. I don't bear them ill will. I don't wish their demise. Politically maybe, but not more than that. I don't wish them harm.
But हो सकता है जिन लोगों की policy से इतने लोगों के, I'm not talking about any specific individual, but if a person's policy decision impacts lives,
I still oppose them, but I don't see why I have to hate them.
If you know they have ill will, then
I don't know.
If you're convinced about it, why be so idealistic is what
it's not a question of being idealistic.
But why be so polite and why not?
I mean, individual people, I mean, honestly, I'm telling you, it's just the way it is. Why can't you be polite? Why can't you have a polite conversation with somebody that you're opposed to?
But if that disagreement causes people to possibly die, and
you don't have to reconcile yourself to that disagreement. You don't have to endorse it. I'm saying you fight it tooth and nail. You do everything in your power to stop it. But can you not do that without hate? Maybe you can't. I don't know. Maybe you can't.
The fight, I think, ultimately, according to the narrative of the opposition or RG, is against the hate. And so, how can you fight hate with hate?
Yeah.
And so, in a way, you'll have to employ other means. But will those be successful in these times? Can they work right now?
And you can agree to disagree and oppose each other tooth and nail without sort of injecting hatred into people. The problem is we're not only are we opposing people, we're also doing it in a way in which we are sort of making people hate each other. We're making communities hate each other. It's the sort of abject sort of just nafrat that you see in people's eyes. Why?
But क्या इससे पहले धर्म यूज नहीं हो रहा था उमर?
नहीं हो रहा था. कौन किसने
और क्या नफरत के नाम पे कैंपेन्स नहीं लड़े जा रहे थे?
इतना
मुझे नहीं पता, आप बताओ.
नहीं, मुझे तो नहीं लगता इतना था. मुझे तो नहीं लगता इतना था. इतना नहीं.
पर अगर था भी तो आज का लेवल अनएक्सेप्टेबल है.
Maybe the awareness of it is more today.
How difficult is it to be moderate these days? Moderate, liberal, whatever you, especially in terms of religion.
I think you're expected to be more hardline.
So and do you struggle with it?
Hardline sort of sentiment, I think it becomes inevitable because it's a chain reaction. When you see large parts of the country heading in that direction, then it's very difficult to stop others also.
पर क्या आपके साथ ये struggle होता है क्योंकि you're also dealing with a region where religion is important, much like all parts of India.
But here in Jammu and Kashmir, while religion is important, Jammu and Kashmir has also traditionally been a very accepting place. I mean, in spite of being a Muslim majority state, we were one of the first states to ban cow slaughter. You didn't need to do it. You haven't done it in Goa, you haven't done it in Kerala, you haven't done it anywhere in the northeast, in spite of being a Muslim majority state, because of respect for the sentiments of the minority population. This is why I think, if I'm not mistaken, in my grandfather's time, traditionally governments have renewed it because they understand sentiments have to be respected. Not for nothing was this one of the most peaceful places even in 47. Even when Jammu was up in flames, Kashmir was more peaceful. So yes, which is why what happened in 1990 with the Kashmiri Pandit exodus is a huge blot on our copybook. And it's something that we find very difficult to live down. Because otherwise we have prided ourselves on being a society where sort of we mix very easily. One of my endearing memories is going with him to Iqbal Park to watch Ravan being burnt on Dussehra. Every year I would sit with him. And that was part of who we were. I can't imagine in today's environment Chief Minister of a Hindu majority state coming and celebrating. You don't even have an iftar party any longer. अब तो आप इफ्तार पे भी आप मतलब एक दूसरे के साथ बैठने के लिए तैयार नहीं हो.
और आप स्कल कैप तो गलती से भी नहीं पहन सकते अब, अगर आप हिंदू लीडर हो. वो तो बहुत मुश्किल हो गया, मतलब impossible ही हो
which is again, it's unfortunate. Look, because I mean, my religion is my religion. Okay, I have to have the confidence in myself that I will be true to my religion regardless of what happens. So, if I am a Hindu and wearing a skull cap is going to make me feel less Hindu, then what is my commitment to my religion? Or for that matter, as a Muslim, if I go and visit the Golden Temple, or I go and visit Kheer Bhavani, does that make me less of a Muslim? Does it mean that somehow I'm disrespecting my religion? I'd like to believe not. I'd like to believe that my religion is founded on the basis of acceptance and respect for other lines of thought.
There's no longer a case where you can do it now.
I still believe in J&K we can.
पर religion और state का रिश्ता कैसे देखते हो आप उमर?
In an ideal world,
आप
church
explain-
and state would be separate.
But India में तो ऐसा नहीं
Well,
रहा.
tell me where in the world it is now. A country
Well-
like the United Kingdom in that respect is very. I mean, it's a strange country where you have a practicing Hindu as the prime minister. The only thing is that right now that prime minister hasn't won a direct election, so you can't exactly say the British people have put him there.
सही बात.
I'll be more convinced if he were to win a direct election and be there with his own mandate. But even then, the fact that the people of London have voted the son of an immigrant as the mayor of London, it's not a joke.
पर आपके
Can you
लिए
imagine a situation like that here?
आपके लिए ideal situation वही होगी क्या जहाँ church in its broad term and state are different?
I think that would be ideal for any democracy.
पर क्या वो हो भी सकता है?
It can't be. Hoga nahi. The country that I mean really champions this cause, the Americans, are they? I mean, is there a?
Not at all.
There.
Not at all.
If our leaders are photographed and filmed going into temples and mosques and gurdwaras, there's make sure they get seen going into church on
वो तो
Sunday.
होना ही है.
तो फिर, so I mean, what is ideal and what is realistic?
बट लॉजिस्टिकल दिक्कत भी तो है ना. अगर दो धर्मों में या दो गुटों में जो भी दो ट्राइब्स में अगर लड़ाई हो तो उसको सॉल्व करने के लिए सरकार को ही तो आना पड़ेगा ना. सो यू कांट एक्चुअली.
But if you have, I mean, if church and state are separate, then you're able to do it on merit. No?
But then that merit will be questioned and
That's where but if there is a complete disconnect between church and state, then there is no scope for questioning the merit.
तो क्या होना चाहिए? मतलब कैंपेन करने नहीं जा सकते हैं?
That's what I'm saying. It is not
आपको लगता है
possible.
कभी फ्यूचर में
नहीं
होगा
होगा.
आपके लाइफ टाइम में?
होगा नहीं. In fact, church and state will become more enmeshed. Everything is about religion.
As you age, do you feel like you've become more religious? Are you religious?
I'm a religious, spiritual person. I am who I am. I mean, I don't wear my religion on my sleeve, but that's a personal choice I make.
Is the average Indian Muslim?
The moment I try and answer that, the first thing people will tell you is that I'm not an average Indian Muslim. I'm a very fortunate Indian Muslim. One, I happen to be an Indian Muslim in the only Muslim majority state. Therefore, I don't know the problems that a minority Muslim would have living in, let's say, Madhya Pradesh or UP. I am also a Muslim.
But I'm sure you hear
I'm also a Muslim from a well-to-do family. Then I'm also a Muslim from a politically very influential family. So there is no way on earth I can even begin to tell you how an average Muslim in the rest of the country is feeling. Because if I try and do that, then I'm being really unfair to them, which is not right.
But as an observer of things, how do you see it?
I see their lives are difficult at the moment. I don't envy the position they're in. This overt majoritarianism that we see in India today must be extremely scary for them. It must be difficult for them not to know when they're going to get beaten up next. I can't imagine what it must be like for them getting on a train not knowing what will happen to them. I can't imagine what it must be like for them to think about sending their children away for education, wondering whether their children will be safe.
Do you see these as exceptions or
No,
has
I
that
think
become the norm now?
I think unfortunately we see more of this now than we used to. I don't believe that any community should be appeased. But I don't believe a community should be victimized just because you want to prove that you're not appeasing them. Today, unfortunately, Muslims in India are very often being targeted simply because powers that be want to say कि देखो ना पुराने लोगों की तरह हम इनको सिर पे नहीं बिठा रहे हैं. हम नहीं कहते ना अब सिर पे बिठाओ, लेकिन कम से कम जुल्म तो मत करो. But today, in order to prove that you're not appeasing, you're going the other extreme. You're actually victimizing. And that's wrong. Otherwise take the word secular out of the constitution. अरे भाई, you have a brute majority, कर लो. आपने तो जम्मू कश्मीर में करके साबित कर दिया आप कुछ भी कर सकते हो, तो कर लो, फिर हटा दो.
And who do you hold accountable for this situation?
At the end of the day, who runs most of the country today? The BJP. They run the belts where all this is happening are BJP dominated states.
Do you see?
How can you hold? I mean, I can hardly hold the opposition responsible for this.
Do you see any truth? No, obviously not the opposition. But do you see any truth in the fact, in what they say about appeasement happening before 14 or the Congress?
Have you read the Sachar committee report?
I have.
Have you seen what it has said about the economic state of Muslims? Where is the appeasement? See, this is where I have a problem with people who then turn around and say all this. Arey bhai, if we had been appeased, then we should have been at the top of the economic pyramid. Along with Adani, Ambani, Tata, Birla, there should have been another name from the Muslim community. मुझे तो नहीं दिखता. With great difficulty, if you scratch the surface, you'll find one Wipro. I struggle to find anything else on the economic sort of landscape. Let's come down to your, I mean, at the basic level, in government, in intelligentsia. Where?
Is there no basis to, like, is it just brute majority and we will do what we want to do, or is there any sense to it?
Look, the numbers don't justify the claim. So, I mean, if there was no appeasement, then what are you correcting right now? Then you have created this bogey of appeasement to be able to go around and sell this slogan कि भाई साहब हिंदू खतरे में. अरे कहाँ भाई, 15% तो यहाँ आबादी मुसलमानों की है. बड़ा 15% आबादी से 70% को खतरा हो सकता है. कहाँ से? मैं मानता अगर 55%, it was 55-45, then I can understand कि हाँ खतरा हो सकता है. 15%, 16%. What threat are they?
Is it just easier to win elections with this narrative?
I think it's easy.
Is it just that?
It's easy to do politics. It definitely is. So because a lot of sins then get forgiven.
तो पूछते होगे ना कि उनका ज़मीर ये अलाउ क्यों करता है? कैसे कर देता है?
They're all right with it. They don't see anything wrong with it, and it's fine. I feel it's wrong. They disagree with me.
उससे तो क्या कर सकते हैं?
What can you do?
You're not a violent man. What will you do?